What's going on, guys? It's the Dividend Bloodhound here with another investing episode. In this episode we're going to talk slightly differently to our usual format. In this video I'm actually going to review another YouTube channel's video. This channel is called Get Investing, and I will get a link in the comment section below so you can check out his channel. There is some really good content on there that you guys should definitely check out, and I'm going to delve into his latest video that's about the 2020 recession being worse than the 2008 financial crisis, and we're going to examine the merits of this, and not to cause panic, but we're actually going to have a look into how bad this crisis could actually get and where we're going to go from there. That being said, please, if you like this video or you want to get your video reviewed by myself, please get that in the comments section below. Please subscribe to his channel called Get Investing. I'll leave that link in the comment section below and in the description for the video. And please, if you are new here, please subscribe to my channel and hit that like button, and that will benefit both my channel and his channel as well. We're both looking to grow our channels. I'm trying to get to over 1,000 subscribes. He's trying to get to 500 subs, so it could be mutually beneficial for us both. With that being said, let's actually get into the video review. I'll catch you in there. What's going on, guys? We are into the video. I have just set it going now. I'm going to give my thoughts on exactly what is actually said in the video. I've got some notes here that I might refer to, and if you can hear the video in the background, I am sorry. I'm trying to present to you guys and compute all the information in my head at the same time. Not the usual thing that I do, but we'll go and we'll see how we get on. So in this video he's talking about the what's the oncoming, or some people would argue the recession that is already here. Basically the world's economy has just completely stunted due to this ongoing crisis, and most people would argue that the recession is already here. And the key point that he's made in this video is that the S&P 500 dropped 30% in 22 days. Now that is an absolute record. In the 2008 crisis, it took well over 200 days to achieve that sort of a drop, which is absolutely insane. However, what I would say here myself personally is that the 2008 crisis was caused by mainly just the financial sector, but then burst its way outwards, whereas this is across the whole economy, which is why it's been hit so hard. However, the recovery time might be slightly quicker than we actually originally think, because the only thing that's stopping the economy at the moment and is causing the jobless rate, the drop in transactions and all that, is people are just being forced to be at home. As soon as that comes off, the lid comes off that, then the economy should just pick back up straight away. It just depends on how long this crisis takes to subside. Now, the Fed and the Bank of England have pumped a huge amount of money into the stock markets to stave off the drop, and this has largely worked, but it does depend on how much resources government, and we're just talking, because I'm from the UK, but I'm largely invested in the UK and the US stock markets. That's where we're talking about here, and I think that's what Get Investing is talking about in his video, because that's where we're largely invested. But this is a global event, but we're basically talking about what resources do the US and the UK government have to stop the economy imploding, basically, and that's what it is. I mean, if without the support that the UK and the US government is giving, the stock markets and the economy would be in essential free fall. Absolutely insane times that we live in. Now, the arguments for the arguments for this being worse than 2008 is three-pronged, according to Get Investing. And basically he's talking about the severity of what's happened, the chain effects around the world, and the actual scale of what's going on, which are all well-founded, well-grounded points. So in terms of severity, you've got lockdowns all over the world. Every major economy, every major country is locked down in some sort of way at the moment. China's just coming back out of theirs. South Korea is still in theirs. Japan are still doing their part. Italy, Germany, the UK, the US, all of these major countries are all under some sort of government-forced, rules-based lockdown, which is in that term freezing, stunting, and knocking the economy into it's just stopping it basically. Apart from online sales, really, all business is at a complete standstill. Now what I would say going along with that is that, as noted in the video, 99% of businesses, using the UK as an example, are small businesses, and most of them businesses are shut at the moment, which is absolutely ridiculous. I know 99% of business in the UK might not necessarily make the headlines, because the big headlines are going to be the multinational blue chip companies, and if one of them goes under, that will be what all headlines across the country are about. But a small business closing is somebody's own finances, and that's tragic in every single way, because that's just somebody trying to live and support their business just by paying the mortgage and support their family that way. They're not going to be multi-millionaires for the most part. They're just going to be the likes of the average person just trying to get by, the hairdresser, the chip shop owner, all of these sorts of small businesses that are completely stunted at the moment. And they are getting some support from the government, but it just depends on how deep the government's pockets can go and how far this will carry on for. Unfortunately, it looks like it's here for the longer term, and there will be casualties anyway regardless. And ironically, banks are being really tight. The taxpayer paid the banks out last time in the 2008 crisis, but yet now the taxpayer and the rest of the country needs help. And I've seen doing a little bit of research, I've seen numerous instances where banks are charging businesses 12% interest on loans that they're providing to them. That's absolutely insane. The Bank of England's base rate at the moment is 0.1%. They've got some absolute, you can't believe the pluck of these things, these banks. They've bailed out by the taxpayer, and now the taxpayer, which is largely small businesses, needs some help back from them, and they're charging an absolute extortionate rate of 12%. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Anyway, that's my little rant over about that sort of thing. Hopefully the government can help these small businesses as best they can. Hopefully these businesses can be supported by the government as best they can, but there will be casualties, sadly, and that is a really bad thing. The next thing to look at is, as mentioned by Get Investing, is the chain effects of this around the world. The more that you cut back, the more this affects the global economy. The example and supply chains. The example Get Investing used was Apple and its mobile phone making. Now it does a lot of this mobile phone making in China, and it needs resources to do that. And it's already said that it won't meet demand this year, so it's cutting back its supplies, as said. So that means they get less money, less phones make it to the market, so that means these phone sellers make less money. It just has such a knock-on effect across the global economy. Less people spending means Visa and MasterCard and American Express don't get their cut, and they make their own cuts, and it just, like a literal domino effect, will just ripple across the world. And it's actually triggering unemployment. People are being laid off left, right and centre. If you look at the unemployment figures in the United States alone, they've just announced millions more people signing on to the jobless list like this week alone, and it's only going to get worse and worse and worse as this goes on. In the UK government's tried to bail out every single every single person that they can by paying 80% of their wages through the businesses, so they can just be kept on so they don't get made redundant essentially. But again, loads of people are going to end up being made redundant, and the ONS and the Office for Statistics in the United States has said that the unemployment rate in the US could peak at 30%. Imagine that, 30% of the United States workforce out of work at one time. This could have serious effects on not just the US economy, but as we said, across the world. The Great Depression and the 2008 financial crisis didn't get anywhere near that sort of unemployment rate. However, what I would say is it's been a record that more people are employed at the moment than they ever were before. And back when the Great Depression happened, there was a lot less people in the workforce, so to speak. I'm assuming that the figure was relative though, so it's 30% of today's workforce versus the percentage of workforce back then. So the figures would be the same. But the ramifications today with how linked and multifaceted our economies are across the world and how complex they are, it's only going to have even greater implications than it already would have had before. This is, when you actually think about how bad this could get, it is actually quite scary. It really is. But that is the key thing, is how bad it could get. Nobody knows how long this is going to go on for, and you can't just sit on the sidelines as an investor like myself and just wait for that to happen, wait for the recovery. The opportunity is now, and that would be what I would take forward from this, is take the opportunity if you can. Take the opportunity that this does offer. It's tragic, and it really is bad that people are ill and people are dying from this, and my heart really does go out to them, and I have no doubt that we'll all be affected by this in some way, and that is absolutely tragic. But as investors and as people in the world, there is opportunity in this great problem and this great recession, and all the most wealthiest people in the world are taking advantage of this, and really as an investor you should too. Now, Get Investing rounds up this video with some advice for what happens if you become unemployed, what to do if you do become unemployed, what to do even if you are employed, and then what to do as an investor. As an investor, sorry for the little stunt in the video there, my phone overheated due to the glorious sunshine that's outside that none of us can enjoy because we're on lockdown. But it overheated my phone, so I had to pause recording for a brief moment there and let my phone cool down. Anyway, we're back into it. So, if you do become unemployed, I feel for you massively, and Get Investing says exactly the same. It is massively unfortunate, especially if there was absolutely nothing you could do about it, which is what will happen in most cases. If this happens to you, the first thing you should do is review your expenses immediately. Anything that you can cut out, the Netflix, the gym memberships, anything like that needs to go immediately. You need to cut down on what your outgoings are immediately, and try not to get into any debt. Deploy your emergency fund if you've got one, and deploy your savings. I know that's probably not what you'd want to do with your savings, but it's much better than getting into debt. Also, look into what government help that you can get, because the government might be able to get you can sign on to the job seekers allowance, there's universal credit, and you can apply for a rent holiday and a mortgage holiday as well, so definitely look into that. If you are employed, the same sort of thing applies. These are uncertain times, so you don't want to end up with it biting you in the backside and all of a sudden you do become unemployed. So again, I would absolutely follow Get Investing's advice. Review your expenses and cut down on things that you don't need right now, and be prepared. Look into the rent holidays, the mortgage holidays, and just in case that it does happen, the worst does happen, or even if you get furlonged, that's still a 20% pay cut. You need to be prepared and make sure that you've got a plan in place should that happen. It probably will be short term, and hopefully if you're a well qualified person, you'll definitely find a new job very quickly, or you'll keep the job that you've got, and everything in 6 months time after this crisis has passed, or however long it takes to carry on, you'll be you'll be in great shape to find another job, and hopefully or continue in your old job and get that money back to normal, and you can carry on with your life, and we can all carry on with our lives. If you're an investor, a bit like myself, and obviously the rest of this YouTube investing community that we've got, we're not all Warren Buffetts, but we are certainly out for looking for researching in the market and getting a leg up, or not losing out on money if we can. So I would conduct, and Get Investing definitely says this as well, is conduct a review of your portfolio. Make sure you are definitely happy with all of your investments and where and how balanced your portfolio is. Rebalance it if necessary. He mentions that he sold some of his green positions to redeploy that money into red positions, to dollar cost average or pound cost average those positions down, and then in the long term that will bring them positions up. Me personally, I don't have any green positions at all, so I've just got to sit on everything. Not one of my positions is green right now. The closest position I had to green was UPS, but that's dipped back into the red again lately. It was my only green position in a 40 strong portfolio, so I wasn't in the position to do that. If you are going to invest in anything, go for cautious stuff, defensive stocks potentially, unless you fancy a flutter on some of the travel, hotel, cruise line or airline stocks. I personally have, because I think that fits into that 10-20% bracket in my portfolio where I'd actually like to take some risk. So I've bought into Royal Caribbean, Carnival Cruises. I've got some Lufthansa shares, and I'm certainly potentially looking at maybe another American airline or something like that. Nothing too much. My total portfolio value is about £5,000, and I'll have about £200 or £300 in these airline stocks or cruise shares, and that's about it. That is enough for me, and that isn't even 10%. I might boost it up to 10%, but just a little bit, just enough to make some money on it. But if the worst does happen, and God forbid they all do go bankrupt, I'm not going to be absolutely crying over it, and I'm certainly not going to have to miss a rent payment or have to sell down shares or anything like that for it. And last but not least, what is definitely worth considering is, do not, and I'm going to literally scream this at you, do not panic sell your stocks. Just don't do it. That is where you guarantee a loss. Like, everything is only a loss on paper. It's only a loss when you actually sell. At the moment in your portfolio, it's just a loss on paper, and in 6 months time, a year's time, all these companies are going to be at least back to where they were, or better off than where they were. Look at all the other precedents that's happened in the market. The market always recovers. It might take some time, but the market always recovers. So just bear that in mind before you hit that sell button and you take that £50 loss, that £100 loss, that £200 loss for no reason. Even companies that are cutting dividends at the moment, like Boeing for example, or Carnival, they're doing it for a reason. They're doing it so the company doesn't go bankrupt. There's no point in you getting a dividend off a company if it's just going to go bankrupt. It's for the health of the business, and bear that in mind when you consider selling, because it's cut its dividends. The only time I would consider selling a company that's cutting its dividends is if it was for no reason whatsoever. If it came completely out of the blue that they were just cutting their dividend for whatever reason, then that is when I'd definitely consider selling. But when a company's beaten up and down like Boeing and Carnival is, and their industries have been hit so hard, then it stands to reason and it is logical for them to cut their dividends, and they will want to return to paying dividends one day. You can bet your bottom dollar. But the good thing about that is Carnival and Boeing are massively beaten up right now. They're at 60% discounts. You can certainly make money out of them just in appreciation, let alone when the dividends do return. And then when they do return, the chances are that you're going to make a massive yield on that. You've just got to be patient. That is the last thing I'm going to say on this video. Just do not panic sell. watch Get Investing's video. It is a great video. You don't see him in the video, you just see the core facts and you hear his commentary on it, but it is a great video and I would recommend watching it. The link is in the bottom below. Please subscribe to his channel, please subscribe to my channel, hit the like button on this video, hit the like button on that video. Look at me with my great big list. Well, please, let's help grow our channels, because what we both want to do, we share the same goal. We're UK investors. We think YouTube the investing community on YouTube in the UK is a lot less than it is in the United States, and we're aiming to change that, and we want to grow our channels to achieve that. So let's all band together and let's make that happen. And until the next time, I will catch you in the next video. Peace out.